Welcome everyone to the Rotary Club of Fort Worth. We're very glad all of you, well, most of you are able to make it today. And if you're here, you're here. My name is Tom Law. I'm the president of the club, and we'll just go ahead and get started. First, Connie Blake is going to give our invocation, followed by Harriet Harrell with the national anthem. Connie?
Well, last Friday, we had an inspiring overview of the Rotary International Convention in Taipei by Veronica and Tom Law. It's always great to be reminded of our 7 areas of focus, which one of the most important is world peace. So with that, let us pray. If there is righteousness in the heart, there will be beauty in the character. If there is beauty in the character, there will be harmony in the home. If there's harmony in the home, there will be order in the nation. When there is order in each nation, there will be peace in this world. We know that righteousness in our hearts only comes from you, Lord. As Rotarians, help us live righteous lives and live out our motto, service above self, and our 4-way test. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Now let's welcome to the stage Tim Halden to introduce guests and visiting Rotarians. Tim, it's all yours.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my honor to welcome our guests for today. First, we have Melissa Kisses, guest of Gina Scholl, and we're going to ask if you would stand up and maybe give a little wave so everyone can see who you are. Edwin Sadberry, guest of Bob Mitchell. Kristen Baker, guest of Matt Kimball. Russ Webb, guest of Tom Law. Miguel Calera, guest of Rosa Bahia. John Easter, guest of Don Pearson. Morgan Johnson, guest of Karen Teschel Johnson. And last and not least, the incomparable Paul Payne, guest of Catherine Barr Smith. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim, and thanks again for our visitors who are attending today. We hope you'll enjoy the program and consider joining us as members of the Rotary Club. Now it's time for the 4-way test. I think it kind of speaks for itself, so let's do that. And if you'll just follow the little white dot for those of you who need that. Is it the truth? Is it fair at all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And now the moment we've all been waiting for. I can just see the silence. I mean, hear it in the room. Okay, here it comes, Judge. Okay, Mitch Reitman with the newscast. You are a brave man, sir.
Thank you for that warm reception. I feel about as welcome as President Trump at a Belgian soccer team party. First for the weather. It's hot out there. It's so hot that Ken Paxton went to see James Tallarico just to get a cold stare. It's so hot that James Tallarico asked Ken Paxton to debate him just to get a cold shoulder. So today, the biggest news is the FIFA World Cup games. And let's see how this thing works. That going anywhere? Oh. Okay. The FIFA World Cup games, some of which took place right down the road at Dallas Stadium in Arlington. It was exciting to see the world descending on the United States to watch the greatest players in the game of soccer. 104 matches were played in North America. If you aren't a soccer fan, the game has its moments, but it can be confusing and boring. The matches are 90 minutes long, but they tack on penalty time, so you don't know when they'll end. The rules are complicated and not always enforced. Goals are few and far between. In fact, there's more scoring at a Star Trek convention. The best thing about the World Cup were the fans. They were blown away by incredible sports venues, and it was a great cultural exchange. They bought their special styles, like the Viking row. They saw things Americans take for granted, and they loved it. And who'd have thought that Walmart would be more exciting than Disneyland? Try to find a 100-foot-long snack aisle in Europe. The stadium concessions served ranch dressing in little packets, and it was a big hit. The world was stocking up on ranch dressing. Norwegian superstar Erling Haaland visited a Western wear store. Okay, it was in Dallas, and almost West wear store. He also took home some true American artwork, a stuffed raccoon holding a bottle of vodka for the low price of $700. Dignitaries from all over the world attended, including Queen Elizabeth. Oh, she's dead? Is Mick Jagger? He's alive? In Wisconsin, a Lego master built a replica of the World Cup trophy using over 2.4 million Lego blocks. He spent 2 years building it, took thousands of hours, and gave up his social life. But he's pleased to report he's got enough Lego blocks left over to build a girlfriend. In Massachusetts, several liberal arts students held a protest about wage inequity between men's and women's sports. Despite the fact that American player Trinity Rodman makes over $2 million a year plus bonuses, more than the entire Curacao men's team combined. Police were able to disperse them by firing job applications into the crowd. Argentina and Spain play for the championship this weekend. To celebrate, Walmart has Chester's value-sized flamin' hot fries on sale for $3.99. So root for your favorite team and have a great weekend, and that's the news.
Okay, I can use this for somebody else later on. That's good. Now we have Ed Macklin with some very important announcements. Pay attention. You should have your pens out just in case.
Thanks, President Tom. I'm so glad you asked that. Hey, Rotarians and Rangers fans, we have just a few tickets left for the game next week on the 21st versus the White Sox. We have seats in the exclusive Terramana Terrace. You know, they're tables with 4 chairs and rollers on them and not just kind of stacked up against each other. And it's going to be a fun time, and the tickets are $75. It includes a $25 food and beverage credit for the food and beverages of your choice. And like I said, get your tickets today. We just have very few left and hope to see y'all there. If you have any questions, come see me after the lunch. Thanks. Back to you, Tom.
And remember, Ed likes answering questions, so it's, please make sure you have some for him. Okay, next, Secretary Brenda Matamoros Beveridge will make her debut. Okay, with 3 first readings. Brenda.
We have 3 first readings today. The proposed members are Jonathan, I should have read this before, Jonathan Diamantopoulos. He's a financial services professional with Cornerstone Wealth Strategies, classification finance. Proposer Chris Jordan. Second is Luis Galindo. He's owner of Luis Galindo Law. Classification law, proposers past President Courtney Lewis. And the third is Brenda Rios. She is COO of the Women's Center of Tarrant County, and proposer is Shanna Saldana. If no written objections are received in the Rotary office by July 24th, the proposals will be given second readings and voted on by the club. Thank you.
It's pretty good for the debut. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, my favorite part of the meeting is introducing a new member. So to do that is Evan Eastman, and here he is.
I hope this is your favorite part moving forward because Kent's going to do something we've never seen before, which I'm super excited about. So Ken and I have known about each other about 16 years. He grew up in Bells, Texas, which is north of Dallas if you... Sorry, I've never used this before. But he spent most of his childhood here in Fort Worth at the stockyards doing trick roping performances with his dad at the Cowtown Coliseum. He attended college at Texas Tech. Okay, all right. Earning a degree in agriculture economics before attending law school there as well. After graduating from law school, he went on to work in Fort Worth, was hired as an associate at Kelly Hart & Holman in their corporate and security section. He worked there for 2.5 years and took a position with a waste management company as its corporate counsel. In 2008, he had an opportunity to take ownership position in another waste management company in Virginia, which prompted him to start his own law firm where he's been practicing since. He focuses on mergers, acquisitions, general corporate law, and commercial real estate transactions. He moved to Azle in 2006, where he discovered the Rotary Club. He joined the Azle Rotary Club in 2010 and served as president of the club in 2011 and 2012. He's got 2 children, a daughter who's defending her dissertation today at UNT, and a son who lives in Austin. He just moved from Azle to downtown Fort Worth and is eager to get involved with this community. He's maintained his trick roping over the years and has performed as far away as Dubai, but he's performed at many venues across Fort Worth, like South Fork Ranch, the Super Bowl, the Texas Governor Mansion, and all 9 games of the World Cup. Kent Durham.
Well, thanks, Evan. I appreciate that. And I really look forward to getting involved in this organization, getting to know each and every one of y'all and helping advance our motto of service above self in our community. I think I had a picture, or did we get the picture up? There we go. Okay, so I wanted to just tell this quick story because this picture was taken in 1993. That's my dad on the horse, and that's me on the ground. And this is actually a clip from the country music video called God Bless Texas by Little Texas. And that was taken in front of the Cowtown Coliseum. So it was moments like that in my childhood that drew me to Fort Worth later. So what I thought I would do, if I've got a little bit of time left, is do just a little bit of trick roping for y'all. You'll be okay with that? All right, let's do it.
You know, Ken, everyone in this room has talent, whether they know it or not, somehow, some way with the rest of his team. But we have never had an introduction like this. So thanks for sharing that with us. That's very good. Okay, Chip, I'd like to bring up our chairperson of the day, Chip Schweiger. And don't walk in front of the projector. Ever, no.
Good afternoon. Oh, come on, y'all. Paul, we can do better than that, I think. But I didn't realize you were the incomparable Paul Payne. I mean, I turned to Kurt, and we were both shocked as we could be. Welcome. Good afternoon. That was awesome. We need to do that every meeting. Tom, Mr. President, we need to do that every meeting. Okay, cool. Well, today it's my pleasure to introduce someone whose career has been devoted to an industry that's woven into the fabric of both Fort Worth and the American West. Sir Kurt Crawford didn't just arrive at the American Paint Horse Association. He spent more than 2 decades building relationships and leading organizations across the horse industry. So his career has included leadership roles with the Pacific Coast Cutting Horse Association, the National Cutting Horse Association, the American Quarter Horse Association, and for the past decade, the American Paint Horse Association. Kurt joined the APHA in 2017 as their Director of Business Development, where he more than doubled the organization's corporate partnerships and helped develop signature events like the Red Steagall Cowboy Gathering and the Cowgirl Gathering. And on a side note, if you get the chance to go to either of them down in the Fort Worth Stockyards, you absolutely need to do it. It's the best fun you'll ever have. After serving as interim CEO beginning last November, he was selected this spring as the permanent CEO following a nationwide search. And that's really a testament, I think, to the confidence that his board and his colleagues have in his leadership. What you may not know is that Kurt grew up in Pennsylvania, where he competed in a variety of horse disciplines before developing a passion for reining, cutting, and cow horse events. So he lived this life. In other words, he didn't just build a career around horses, he grew up with them. Those of us here in Fort Worth appreciate organizations that preserve our Western heritage while continuing to innovate and grow. From its headquarters in the Great Fort Worth Stockyards, Kurt now leads one of the world's largest equine associations, ensuring that the traditions we value continue to reach new generations. So please join me in a warm Fort Worth Rotary welcome to the Chief Executive Officer of the American Paint Horse Association, Kurt Crawford.
I'm not quite sure where he got all that information, but it was true. So, yes, I am the current CEO of the American Paint Horse Association. And basically, the American Paint Horse Association started in 1962, okay? It actually started in Gainesville, Texas, by Rebecca Tyler Lockhart, okay? And she, uniquely enough, is the only woman, to our knowledge, okay, that has ever started an equine association. So we have a rich history in women. We actually have probably 80% of our members that are women, okay, throughout the world. Currently, you know, we have basically, advancing, whoop. Oops, I keep going too fast here. You got me? Okay. Right now, we have basically about 38,000 members worldwide, okay? Out of that, most of our members obviously reside here in the United States, okay? We basically have 5,000 that are international from the standpoint of most of those being European, okay? And then we have an additional 2,000 members that are in Canada, okay? As I said, the majority of those members are women, okay, that are involved in the sport in some way, shape, or form. The unique thing about the American Paint Horse Association, as well as the American Quarter Horse Association, is we are a breed association, okay? Meaning that basically our objective is to register and preserve the paint horse, okay? Paint horses essentially started from the quarter horse breed, okay? And Rebecca Tyler Lockhart had a number of horses that American Quarter Horse Association would not register because of the too much white on them, okay? And essentially, if they had white above the hock or above the knee, then they would not register those horses at one point in time. Uniquely enough, her husband at that stage of the game was the president of the American Quarter Horse Association. So that's a very interesting dynamic right there. So basically she said, fine, I'll start my own, okay? And that's what she did. So in 1962, she actually started the American Paint Horse Association. From 1964, we have actually resided here in Fort Worth. So many folks don't really know that we have been here that long, okay? But we have been in this area. We've had basically 3 offices within the Fort Worth area, okay? The one that we had prior to our Stockyards location was up on Meacham Boulevard, okay? And we were in that office basically from about the early 90s, okay, on until 2020 when we actually moved into the Fort Worth Stockyards. Where are we here? Well, basically, we have a number of events each year that are located in Fort Worth, okay? Our biggest event that is our World Show, that basically is actually just finished about a week or 2 ago. That particular event, you know, we had over 4,000 entries, okay? And we had over 1,000 horses that came to Fort Worth. That goes on for about a 17-day period, okay? And that particular event, we paid out right around $1.5 million, okay, at that particular event. We also have another event that we have in Fort Worth at the event center here. That is our Halter Million. Now, if you would have asked me several years ago whether a halter event that's exclusively halter horses or conformation is a good idea, I would have said you're crazy, you know. Actually, it has worked out very, very well for us, okay? That is an important part of our disciplines that we deal with within the association. So that particular event pays out probably right around $1.2 million, okay, to different folks that participate. Uniquely enough, this World Show that we just had, okay, individuals came from 45 different states and 3 different countries to attend this particular event. So, as I said, we paid out right at about $1.5 million at that particular event. So, it also, what we do is we do payouts and we do things at a number of other events, okay, throughout the entire industry, okay. We figured out about 5 years ago, okay, that we were not going to get everyone to actually come to our World Show in Fort Worth. Okay, we'd hoped they would, okay, but that's not been the case up to this point in time. Okay, so we felt that we had to reach our other membership. Okay, if you look at our statistics and things of that nature, a lot of folks say basically 11 to 12% of our membership is active in showing paint horses, okay? We know that that actually is a much bigger number than that. We don't know exactly what that number is, but we think it's about 40 or 50%, okay? okay, of our members are involved in showing horses, okay, or actively participating in showing. Now, when you look at that, how can we reach those other individuals? How can we reach that other 80%? That's an important factor that we look at frequently, okay? What we decided that we would do a program, okay, that we call Chrome Cash, okay? In that particular program, okay, we pay out right around, last year, we paid out right around $1.5 million, okay, in other events like cutting, reining, roping, cow horse events, a lot of those events that also participate here in Fort Worth, okay? So what we do is we use our Chrome Cash program to where you have to be a registered paint horse in order to participate in that program, and you pay an entry fee to get into that section of it. It has become extremely unpopular, okay, especially in the cutting horse industry, to where there's a number of different horses that, you know, are basically registered paint horses. Now, I know within our industry, we hear a lot that those are not really paint horses because they're not wildly colored, okay? However, they do have the genetics that's very important in that aspect, and they also, okay, are very good horses. Last year, for instance, the horse that won the NCHA futurity, as well as the horse that won the NRHA futurity up in Oklahoma, both are registered, fully registered paint horses. Okay. So we have a big impact within the industry, and so we had to figure out ways to actually deal with that. At the same time, we had to figure out a way to basically deal with giving something back to those individuals that do come to our world show, as well as attend all of our other shows. Uniquely enough, throughout the United States, or actually throughout the world, we have about 640 shows, okay, that we approve each year. And basically through that, okay, we register right around 10,000 horses each year that add to our actual registration, which currently is right around 1.5 million horses that are in our registry. So, with those other shows, okay, we had to figure out a way to reach those people and give something back to those people. We developed a program that's called Paint Points, P-A-Y-N-T, okay, basically paying them those points. Now, I'm sure many of you don't fully understand the whole point process, but when they show, depending on how many entries are in that particular class, they get points for that, okay? Used to be those points meant value in a horse, okay? That's kind of gone away nowadays, okay? And that's not something that is readily seen, you know? So what we decided to do is we decided that we would take some of our investment money, which we've done very well with over the past several years, okay? And we would give that back to the members by paying paint points to those individuals that got points, okay? Last year, okay, was the first year that we did that. We decided to start that in the amateur and the youth events, and primarily because of the fact that those are the people that pay the bills, okay? Those amateurs pay the bills. They're the ones that buy the horses. They're the ones that have the horses. And their youth or their kids are also very important too, okay? So we started out with just paint points in the amateur and the youth, okay? The first half of the year, we paid out over $400,000, okay, to those. The second half of the year, we paid out just basically around $450,000 to that. Again, that was worldwide. That's quite an accomplishment that has never been done within the breed association type of thing before. And we took a real leap in trying to do that. 2026, we've added to that, okay? We've added to that from the standpoint of the open horses, okay, that are showing there. We're paying points for those. And then we also decided to add an additional bonus type of thing for those horses that are loudly colored horses, okay? That's called our color bonus, okay? That is going to be very interesting as to what we pay out to that. But we took $1 million out of our investments each year to pay out, to give back to our members. So these are some of the exciting things that we have done within our association. As you can see, our reach from a social media standpoint, okay, has grown substantially over the past 2 years or so, okay? We reach a lot of folks, okay, in a lot of different countries and a lot of different areas. And so our big thing is to basically let them know that what we do, how we do it, and what our intentions are, okay? Many of you that have ever been down into the stockyards happen to see these particular bronzes in the middle of the street in Mule Alley. We were the very first organization, or actually the very first office that moved into Mule Alley, into the new Mule Alley. Uniquely enough, we moved in 2020. We moved in January 15th of that. About a month later, we closed down because of COVID, okay? However, we were closed just a very short period of time, okay, due to the way our office is actually organized and arranged, okay? And basically we're able to open up about a month later, okay? That particular move from Meacham Boulevard to the stockyards has been one of the most incredible moves that we could have ever made, okay? That offer was made to many of other organizations and many other associations, and we were the only ones that made that choice to actually move there, okay? I'm sure you all know the numbers that come out of Fort Worth as far as the visitors to the stockyards. Okay, I think last year it was right around 11.5 million people visited the stockyards. Okay. We feel fairly confident that those bronzes get 1 million some views, okay, each year with social media and things. This is our social media. What we receive as far as recognition and notice of the Payne horse from these bronzes is an incredible feat, okay? As you see here, we have a lot of local impact here with the various events that we do right here in Fort Worth, okay? As I said, we've got 2 of our shows that are the biggest part of it. In addition to that, we also manage and deal with the Red Steagle Cowboy Gathering, okay? We basically purchased that about 4 years ago, okay? And we are in conjunction with Red in doing that particular event, okay? That event 2 years ago basically brought 150,000 people for not just necessarily to that event, but it brought that amount of people into the stockyards. Last year was about 120,000, okay? So it is a very important event that this year, in 2026, is our 35th anniversary of that event. So we would love to see every one of you at that particular event. And it is a very, very inspirational and a very authentic Western event. And that's what we try to do. It involves the ranch rodeo. It involves cowboy music, okay, chuck wagon cook-off, and a number of other events like a swing dance. This year, we're going to try something even newer that we haven't tried before, and that's we're going to actually have the swing dance right in the Cowtown Coliseum, okay? So that will be very interesting. Everybody that has a ticket to the finals, okay, that night of Saturday night, okay, will have that ticket to the swing dance, plus we'll allow other people to come in too. So it ought to be a very interesting evening in many, many factors. MFG is another portion, okay, of our organization. We basically have 3 different pillars, okay? We have American Paint Horse Association, which is 501c5. We have the American Paint Foundation, Paint Horse Foundation. That is a 501c3. And then we have MFG Properties. MFG Properties is our solely owned, okay, subsidiary of American Paint Horse, but it is a for-profit entity that allows us to do things like the Red Steagle Cowboy Gathering, the Cowgirl Gathering, a number of these other events. So those are the types of events that we have. All of those we try to basically deal with within Fort Worth. We also do a couple of regional events throughout the year. We'll do one in Ohio and one in Las Vegas. And those are events that we do to try to reach our regional folks. So. Crow Magazine, which I think Amy has several of those here, it has been a very, very popular magazine that we do. We actually do 2 publications within our association. We do our Crow Magazine as well as we do our Paint Horse Journal. The Paint Horse Journal's been around for a long time. The Crow Magazine's been around about 8-9 years, okay? That particular magazine has been one of the most popular in the American horse press type of thing for the past 10 years, okay? That is more of a Western lifestyle magazine. We have it in every room at the Hotel Drover, okay? And we also have it's about 40,000, circulation with that, and right at about 120,000 readers that do that. That comes out 3 times a year. Our Paint Horse Journal comes out 4 times a year. So, as we said, the Stockyards has been an incredible move for us. Uniquely enough, we see in our office probably right around 120,000 people a year in our office alone, okay? We have a store up front, okay? And then we also have many different activities that come with that, okay? As I said, we get probably 1 million and some views with regards to people that take pictures in front of our bronzes. But the fact that we can get 120,000 people to come into our office, either to shop, do business, or have other events that we do is a pretty amazing thing. I know that there's not another association out there that's in the equine, space that basically sees more people than we do in our office. So that gives us, as well as Fort Worth, a great deal of exposure. We even had weddings from somebody that was in Germany that had a wedding in our office. So we do a lot of different things and a lot of unique things, and we're known as basically pretty innovative with all the things that we do. So that's pretty much all I have with regards to this. I would entertain any questions that anybody might have.
How do you make your money? You're making $3.5 million. Where does that come from? You talk about investors.
Right.
Obviously, you have to have some feeding to that in order to get there. How do y'all do it?
Absolutely. Basically, that number one thing, okay, is registrations. Okay, our member care department is what is the biggest driver of our business. Okay, the other thing that we did, okay, along with that generates revenue every year, okay, is we have sponsorships. A big piece of what I did when I came to the American Paint Horse Association is we increased that by about 3-fold of what it was. We were right at about $350,000, $400,000. Now we're at right around $1.3 million that we get each year in sponsorship type of money. Now that is both in kind as well as actual money, okay? But that helps us with awards and things of that nature. The biggest piece also was the fact that when we decided to move from Meacham Boulevard to the Stockyards, we were fortunately at that time able to sell our office on Meacham Boulevard. We took all that money, put it back into investments, and basically have done very, very well. So.
Let's follow up on that. You talk about the significant impact that your office has in Mill Alley. We were just discussing here today the significant impact of economic development that obviously the association has.
Yes.
And as business leaders in the community, I'd like to hear more about that. It sounds like it's
Absolutely, yes. As I said, two of our biggest events that are done within the paint horse industry, okay, take place right here in Fort Worth, okay? We bring, like I said, right around 1,000, more than 1,000 horses and over 5,000, actually 4,500 entries, which in turn relates to basically about 3 people per entry that actually come to Fort Worth to see that event. Okay, so we bring a great deal of economic impact into that, okay? Plus all the things that we do within our office generate additional ones also that we basically just reach, okay? It's been very interesting to see with the FIFA, you know, the amount of people that are international folks that come to Fort Worth, come to the stockyards, but the amount of international folks that came to our office and actually, you know, visited that. So I think the economic impact is substantial. You know, the other thing that we try to do, as I said, is we also do those other programs that we add to those other events that take place in Fort Worth, and we make those events even much bigger payer.
You mentioned early on that if you had thought that halting was a good idea for us not to force people.
Okay.
What is that? That's the first question. The second, I'm familiar with the Cutting Horse Association and your association. What are some of the other major equine associations?
Okay.
Can you repeat that?
Yes, basically what he was asking is, first of all, he indicated halting, but it's actually halter, okay? That's a conformation of a horse, okay? When we look at the horses, okay, just in general, any horse, we like to have a horse that has good, solid conformation because that allows them to hold up to whatever we might be doing, okay? We are a breed association, okay? The biggest and the largest, we're the second largest breed association in the world, okay? The first, obviously, is the American Quarter Horse Association, located in Amarillo, Texas, okay? They're about 5 times larger than we are, okay? But the event that I referred to is that Halter Million event, okay? Again, it's judged and all of that specifically on the conformation of the horse, okay? To make sure that that horse has adequate conformation to do the jobs that they were designed to do.
Fascinated by the variety of patterns in these horses. So I have a question about the history. When the Comanche and Apache acquired the horse, were these patterns prevalent, like the Obero and Tobiano patterns prevalent then, or is it in recent times that these patterns were developed?
It's in recent times, basically. That's what the naming of those basically occurred, okay, in the early, or basically in the late 60s. Those other patterns, they were there, okay? But as I said before, what happened was with the American Quarter Horse Association, they would not register anything that had a spot, okay, above the knee, okay, or above the hock. If they had white spots, they'd say, no, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna basically register those horses. So when Rebecca Tyler Lockhart said, I'm gonna do my own association, they were still good horses. They were still coming from quarter horses, okay? So the important thing is with a paint horse, it has to either be a lineage from a quarter horse, a thoroughbred, or a paint horse, okay? Those are the only ones that actually are registrable with our association. Now you'll see Tennessee walking horses and some of these others that have spots, okay? Some of the horses that you see in the rodeo and things of that nature, some of them are registered, some of them are not, okay? Because they do not come from one of those 3, okay? But basically, those color patterns, okay, uniquely enough, there is no 2 paint horses that will have the exact same color pattern. So every horse that's registered as a paint horse, every one of them has unique features to it.
Kind of 2 things. One is the population of paint horses growing, by how much? And 2, as you mentioned, I think like 80%
Yes.
Why is that? What's the driver?
I think that's, just a normal thing within the horse industry, Obviously, I can tell you from my wife, I tell people that I have too many horses, but I don't really have any horses. Those are my wife's, So she makes it clear that my name is first on the registration papers, and I make it clear that, yeah, but they're your horses, they're not my horses, So I think that's a big factor of it, to be honest with you. And I also think that basically the women are the ones that really enjoy, participating, not that men don't, okay? But I think that women truly enjoy the horses and find a real, factor with that.
What's the value of one of these horses? Are we talking $10,000, $50,000, $500,000?
Obviously, it depends on the horse, okay? And it really depends on what they do, how they do it, okay? Well, basically, are they shown a great deal, okay? If they're shown or racing or anything of that nature, you may have seen before up there where it said, we paid out $3.9 million in racing. People don't think of paint horses as race horses, okay? But they actually do compete in that. They also compete oftentimes against quarter horses, and that it's a straight line type of a race. But we know that there's several horses that basically have sold for $10,000, and there's several horses that have sold for close to $1 million, okay? That are paint horses, registered paint horses. So we see that variety of things depending on what they do with those horses.
So Yellowstone, the TV series, has undoubtedly had a significant impact on Western.
Yes.
How has it impacted, that translation impacted the American Paint Horse Association?
I think it's definitely impacted us just from a standpoint of the Western lifestyle, okay? That's probably the biggest impact that we've seen, okay? Directly, as far as the American Paint Horse Association, uniquely enough, when Taylor did some of the Last Cowboy and those types of things, many of those horses are registered horses, okay? Taylor is an actual member of ours, okay? In fact, he did some videos for us that are basically the Noculus headset types of things that he put on and went out and, rode his reining horse, okay? And basically, we have those in our, in our office that we can utilize and show people how it might be, how they might experience that type of event, okay? So that's essentially where I would say the biggest impact has been, okay? But I think it's just been a really good, thing for us. Any other questions?
What are the top 3 states that have the most?
Texas is number 1, okay? Oklahoma is the number 2, okay? And then basically California, Florida are very close in the same thing. So that's basically the top 5 of them. All right. Thank you.
Kurt, thank you very much for being a part of this today. I think everyone's gotten really educated on it. I know I have, and we need to pay closer attention. So next time we're on the north side, we'll just
Come see us.
swing by too. It's a tradition at Rotary Club of Fort Worth to make a donation in honor of our speaker. That donation is to the Rotary International Polio Plus Fund to help further eradicate polio. Pleased to do that. Okay, we have a couple of closing announcements as usual. First of all, we're trying to advance some of our technology here in the club, so I need y'all's help in understanding what everybody can do and whatnot. First of all, does anybody use PowerPoint? Just raise your hand if you do. Anybody use PowerPoint? Okay, that's good. Does anybody use Zoom by chance? A lot of you out there also use that. And then finally, I do this quite a bit. Does anybody use their phone to take video or pictures or something like that? Everybody does that. Okay, Kevin, A lot of people out here on the AV crew right here, so make sure. Was that a trick or what? We need help on the AV committee. Now, those of you young and old can be of help if you know how to do those 3 things. In fact, you only have to do 2 of them. You don't even have to know how to take a smartphone video or picture. We really do need your help to set up, take down. It's pretty quick, pretty straightforward. You got a coach and Kevin, and I've done it before too for a while. So please, if you're interested, even if you're not interested, just help us out, okay? Okay, so we do have a Finance Committee meeting in the Rotary office, Suite 305, in just a few minutes. Next week, we have a speaker from Vintage Flying Museum. You don't want to miss that. And I won't be here, so our wonderful Kathy will be filling in for me next week. And with that, meeting adjourned. Thank you very much. Have a good weekend. Yeah. Do 4 more tricks.